So one of the things that I experience as an integrator is that builders look at technology differently than integrators do. First of all, technology is very difficult. Integrating technology into a home is not easy. It's very complex, and it can't be as simple as making a decision on a granite countertop or a garden-style bathroom. There's things that you put in your homes that attract attention immediately. They're remembered when the visitor or the potential customer leaves. Technology isn't necessarily the same thing because it has to be experienced. And frankly, if it's done well, it's hidden. So a lot of us think a lot about technology as the interconnection of all these gadgets. I mean, Alarm.com's done a remarkable job of bringing all these different pieces of technology together and making them all work. And for as long as I've been in this business, the biggest challenge is how do we make all these things work? Because the one thing you don't want is a phone call saying my stuff doesn't work. So we focus on things working. What gets missed in that conversation often is what do we want to install in our homes that makes it attractive and appealing? How do we market and sell our products and our properties and our homes with the technology that we install? And most importantly, how do we make it different? How do we differentiate ourselves from everybody else that installs Ring doorbells and Nest thermostats and other high-profile, well-marketed gadgets? And that's the difference. And then you've got to support it and all the other things we'll get to later. But the first step is pre-planning. So if you're working with an integrator, if you're working with a standalone tech designer, which is what I do, you really want to ask yourself all these questions ahead of time, which is, how am I going to differentiate myself and my products from everybody else that's trying to sell houses in the same neighborhood? And how do I compete with, the elephant in the room, which is the existing residential market? Oops, did I go too far? Sorry about that. So I want to try that again.
Nope, the red goes backwards.
I did.
Oh,
I skipped one.
Okay, got
So
it.
pre-construction. So what do you want to do? Once you've made the decisions on what you're going to install, how do you decide how to handle the situation? How do you market the products? How do you show it in the show house? How do you design? These are all things that have to be discussed and thought of ahead of time. One of the challenges for larger builders is you've got a bunch of salespeople and a bunch of model homes, and every single one of them demonstrates the technology differently. So you tend to not educate them. They tend not to demonstrate those features. You tend to lean on your integrator in that community, and sometimes the integrator does a great job, and sometimes they don't, but keep in mind that your integrator is concerned about selling products and doesn't always have your best interests at heart. So I highly recommend that all of you in this room who build houses take control of the process, understand what you're selling and marketing, have a plan for selling and marketing those systems, and make sure you follow that plan, and everyone that works for you in the sales end of it, including your integrator, knows what your end goal is. Don't oversell, don't overstep. Don't sell things that are too complicated that'll make me look bad, that'll have to service and support. Don't go off the reservation with what you're offering.
There you go.
Design process, there's a lot of slides here. So I actually went through an exercise for this event last year with Dan. We took one of their model homes and tried to talk about all the things that were important in putting together a preliminary design. I always say start with lighting. There are some people in this conference who will tell you that power and network are really important. I totally agree, but I think lighting takes the longest to design. So power and lighting, we can have a conversation and get through that design pretty quickly. Lighting makes or breaks a project. It changes the way your house looks, it changes the way the house feels, it changes the way that the experience is in a model home. The controls of that lighting are very different. Big 6-inch recessed cans are not that sexy anymore, so you've got to make the right decisions, but putting 2-inch cans where the 6-inch cans used to be isn't a great solution either. So put some thought into that because it'll make a difference in the way your home looks. And motorized shading, as ridiculous as it sounds, everybody says I can pull that chain. Designing motorized shades into a space makes a big difference. It makes it feel like the hotel they went to in Vegas. It makes it feel special. The $20,000 Honda Civic you bought has power windows, and when you open the door, the lights go on and off. It's got lighting control and motorized windows and motorized shading. Why shouldn't the houses that you sell for $400,000 and $500,000 have the same features?
Right.
The engineering process, so design I take very, very differently from engineering. So the design stages are, where do the TVs go? How big should they be? How should they be installed? The engineering process is how are they connected and how do we make sure that that works? So get through the design and the discovery process first. Decide what your end outcome is going to look like, then go back and do these really sophisticated drawings on how everything's going to be connected, programmed, and commissioned, and then you can talk about how your integrator gets involved in that process. And if you do this, if you do the design and engineering up front, you have some control over what your integrator is going to do. It lets you control the outcome, and you have a roadmap to getting where you want to be. And then learning to sell technology. The biggest question really is why? Why are we selling this? A lot of you out there probably sell Ring doorbells because everyone knows what a Ring doorbell is, and it's a really easy conversation. Most people you're selling homes to probably already have one or they've seen one. There's not a lot of selling to go on there. It's a pretty cool product. It's not very expensive. But really, why are you selling technology? Are you giving the homeowner an easier application to hang their own TVs when they get in? Are you giving them an opportunity to see and looking on their kids and their pets while they're not at home? Are you giving them a sense of security? Are you giving them circadian rhythm lighting so they're healthier and happier in their houses? Are you building them a great home office? There's lots of really good features and reasons to sell it, but if you're going to do it, do it. Commit to it. You can check all the boxes with the Ring doorbells and the other gadgets that go along with it, but you're really doing a service to your clients by selling them parts and pieces instead of integrated complete systems and solutions.
Exactly.
This was one of my favorite slides from last year, so I used it again. Some of you have probably seen this. Anybody know what this is?
Chick-fil-A, baby.
There you go. The reason I love this is because there's 8 options on this sheet, and everybody in this room knows what that is.
Yeah.
You can get to a drive-through menu, and in that 2 seconds it takes you to drive past that little thing and get to the speaker, you know exactly which one of these that you want.
Unless you have one of the kids in the car, and then it takes them a day and a half.
That's true. That's true. But the idea being your offering should really be this simple.
Yes.
Once you get to the point where you're sitting down with your customers and talking about technology, there might be 8 different options, but they should be easy to explain. And if you haven't done the hard work it takes to get to this point where you've sort of dumbed down your options so you can sell them this way, like the menu, you haven't done your homework yet. And all of you should try and at least aspire to get there, because it makes everything a whole lot easier. Your integrator knows what's expected, your homeowner knows what's expected, they know what the products and solutions look like, they're installed in your model homes, they're reliable, they're sustainable, they're upgradable, and they're just well thought out processes.
If I can interject, that's really what I was referring to in terms of going from that more of a custom, media room, which is that's the gourmet chef getting in there. Whereas, when you're getting into the true high volume production, finding a way to get really nicely complete meals packaged and ready to go. And that's what we were trying to do.
Yep. No, makes perfect sense.
And then implementation. Again, finding your integrator is really important. So, we can talk all day about how to find a good one, but when you find a good one, hang on to them. They're hard to come by. But they do need to understand exactly what's expected of them in terms of scheduling, in terms of timing, in terms of performance, follow-up, service, support. Make sure all those things are defined before you get started with an integrator. What are you going to do when there's a problem, right? Who do they call? Do they call me, the builder? Do they call the integrator? Do they call you directly? Do they call a third-party service provider? How do I get my stuff fixed when it doesn't work? And I know everybody in this room would rather not take those phone calls. Yeah. So if you decide that ahead of time, you can probably avoid, not all, but a lot of those calls along the way. And then support and maintenance, which we just touched on. Networks and the internet and applications and apps have given us a lot of power to control things and operate things and fix things remotely. If you're not doing any kind of remote service, you're doing your customers a disservice. It's great to have a dedicated integrator who will leave his family dinner Friday night at 7 o'clock and drive out to the customer's house to fix the problem. It's not the ideal solution, though. No one wants to deal that. Nobody wants to interrupt a dinner to get somebody out to fix a TV or to fix a speaker. So if you have remote support capability and 24/7 call centers from your integrators, take advantage of that. That's a great program, and it might cost something on a monthly basis, but guess what? If you're charging your customer for it, you can add a couple bucks to it and make it yourselves, too.
Exactly.